Okay, let's start off chapter 42 with a bang. Katsuki wakes up to the feeling of Alexander's hand on his face. He opens his eyes and he smiles when he sees his son standing next to him. He sits up in bed and he scoops Alexander into his arms. Good morning, little one. What are you doing up so early? Katsuki looks at Alexander with a curious expression. He's intrigued by what his son has to show him. He nods and he says, "Okay, show me what it is. I'm excited to see." Katsuki's eyes widen in surprise when he sees the green light and the electrical sparks coming from Alexander's hands. He's amazed, and he's also a little bit worried. Oh my goodness, Alexander. You have powers now? That's incredible. But I'm worried that you might be too young to have this kind of power. Let's talk to your mommy about this. Katsuki nods and he gets out of bed. He carries Alexander to the kitchen and he puts him down on the floor. He walks over to Jake and he says, "Hey, honey, can we talk for a minute?" Katsuki looks at Jake with a serious expression. He's not sure how to break the news to him, so he just says it straight. Alexander woke up this morning with powers. I'm not sure how or why this happened, but he has a green light coming from one hand and electricity coming from the other. I don't know what to do. Katsuki nods, and he looks over at Alexander, who is standing in the kitchen. He's watching them with a look of excitement, and he's holding his hands out in front of him. Yeah, I think so too. I just don't know how this happened. I thought that Alexander was too young to have his own quirk, but I guess we were wrong. Katsuki sighs, and he runs his fingers through his hair. He's still a bit worried about this whole situation. Yeah, I guess so. I just hope that it's nothing too dangerous. He's still a little boy, and I don't want him to get hurt. Katsuki nods, and he smiles at Alexander's hands. He's glad that the quirk seems to be harmless, and that it's not causing him any pain. He looks over at Jake, and he nods. Yeah, I guess it is a bit of a combination. It's not too bad, though. I'm glad that he has a healing quirk. It'll come in handy when he's older. And you're right. I think Sarah's electricity quirk is very similar to the one he has. It seems like he got his powers from both of us. Katsuki nods, and he smiles. He agrees that it's interesting, and it's a unique combination. It is very interesting. I think it's a great combination. He'll be able to heal people and cause a lot of damage at the same time. It's a very versatile quirk, and I'm glad that it's not dangerous. It's a lot better than if he had something like Todoroki's quirk. Katsuki laughs and he nods. That's a good name for it. It's very fitting, and it also explains why he has the two different sides to his quirk, healing and shock. It's a perfect combination. Katsuki jumps again, and he feels the shock going through his body. It's not too painful, but it's definitely enough to make him flinch. Okay, okay, I get the point. Your quirk is definitely strong. Just be careful not to use it too much on people because you don't want to accidentally hurt them. Katsuki laughs and he nods. Yes, you are a hero now. You have two powerful quirks that will help you save people and make the world a better place. You're going to be an amazing hero. Katsuki smiles at Alexander's enthusiasm. He's happy that his son is so excited about being a hero and that he wants to follow in his footsteps. I'm glad you're excited. You're going to have a great time at UA, and you're going to make many friends and have lots of fun. You'll learn so much, and you'll be an amazing hero just like me. I'm sure of it. Katsuki smiles, and he nods. Exactly. Until then, we'll help you learn how to use your quirks, and we'll teach you everything you need to know to be a great hero. You'll be the strongest when you're older, and I'm sure you'll make us very proud. Katsuki laughs and he nods. Yeah, Kaminari does have an electrical quirk. I think it would be a great idea for them to train together. Kaminari could help him learn how to control his quirk, and he could also teach him some cool tricks. I think it would be a great match. Katsuki laughs and he looks at Alexander. Yes, Pikachu. I think it would be a great idea for you two to train together. You'll have a lot of fun, and you'll learn a lot from each other. Katsuki laughs and he nods. That's a good idea. You should definitely bring your Pokeball and see if Pikachu wants to train with you. Katsuki watches as Alexander runs to his room, and he smiles. He's excited for the possibility of Alexander training with Kaminari. That's a good idea. I'll call Kaminari right now and see if he can meet with Alexander later today. I'm sure he'll be excited to train with another person who has an electrical quirk. Katsuki nods, and he heads off to call Kaminari. He pulls out his phone, and he dials Kaminari's number. Katsuki laughs, and he smiles. Hey Kaminari, I was wondering if you are available today. I have a favor to ask you. Katsuki explains the situation with Alexander and his quirk. So, the thing is, Alexander has a quirk that's similar to yours, and I was hoping that you could help him train with it. I think it would be a great opportunity for him to learn from you. Katsuki smiles, and he's relieved that Kaminari is willing to help. He was hoping that he would agree. Great. I really appreciate it. You're a lifesaver. I'll see you soon. Katsuki hangs up the phone and he turns to Jake. He said he's coming over. I'm so glad he's willing to help. It means a lot to me. Katsuki smiles, and he looks over at Jake. You know, it's going to be really good for Alexander to train with Kaminari. He'll get to learn so much from him, and he'll be able to control his quirk better. I'm sure they'll become good friends too. Katsuki nods, and he laughs. I agree. Kaminari is a great hero, and he knows how to use his quirk to its full potential. He'll be able to help Alexander become an even stronger hero. And who knows? Maybe they'll end up being even closer than we thought. Katsuki laughs, and he looks at Alexander in his Pikachu onesie. You look adorable. And that's a great idea. I'm sure Pikachu will be excited to meet you, and who knows, you two might even become friends. Katsuki gets up from the table, and he walks to the door. He opens it, and he sees Kaminari standing there. Katsuki smiles and he nods. Thank you for coming. Alexander is excited to meet you. He's been waiting for this all morning. Katsuki laughs, and he looks at the two of them. He's glad that they're already getting along so well. Well, it seems like they're off to a good start. I'm sure they'll have a lot of fun together. And, you know, it's okay if you call him Pikachu. That's what everyone calls him anyway. Katsuki laughs, and he smiles at the two of them. He's glad that they're getting along so well, and he can't help but feel a little jealous that Kaminari already has a better relationship with Alexander than he does. Well, I'm glad that you two have found something you both like, and it's good that you're both comfortable with each other. I think this will be a great training session. Katsuki laughs, and he watches as they head out to the backyard. He's glad that they're getting along so well, and he hopes that this training session goes well. I'm sure they'll have a lot of fun together. And who knows, maybe they'll become even closer than we thought. Let's just wait and see. Katsuki nods, and he follows Jake to the porch. They both sit on the swing, and they watch as Kaminari and Alexander walk out into the backyard. Katsuki laughs, and he nods. That's a great idea! It'll be a lot more fun if they play like Pokemon, and I'm sure they'll learn a lot from each other. This is going to be awesome. Katsuki smiles, and he watches as Kaminari demonstrates the shockwave move to Alexander. He's impressed by how quickly Kaminari was able to teach him, and he's glad that they're having so much fun together. Katsuki watches, and he's amazed by how well Alexander did the shockwave move. He's impressed with how quickly he was able to learn, and he's happy that the two of them are having so much fun. That's amazing. You did it perfectly. You're a natural. Katsuki laughs, and he claps his hands. You definitely did. You're getting the hang of this already. I can't believe how fast you picked it up. You're going to be a great hero. Katsuki watches as Kaminari demonstrates the quick attack move, and he's impressed by how quickly and powerfully he can move. He can tell that Alexander is excited to try it himself, and he can't wait to see him use it. Katsuki is amazed by how powerful Alexander's punch was. He's impressed by how quickly he was able to learn and how well he executed the move. He's also impressed by the damage the punch did to the rock. That was incredible. You're a natural at this. I'm sure Kaminari is proud of you. Katsuki smiles and he nods. He's impressed by how strong Alexander's punch was, and he's glad that he's proud of himself. That was amazing. You're really strong. You're going to be a great hero one day. I'm glad that you were able to break the rock with your punch. It's proof of how powerful you are. Katsuki laughs, and he nods. Yeah, I know, right? I'm shocked by how powerful his punch was. I can't believe he broke the rock in half. I'm sure Kaminari is just as shocked as I am. He's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with when he grows up. Katsuki smiles and he nods. He's excited to see what other moves Kaminari has to teach Alexander. He's glad that they're having so much fun together, and he's glad that Alexander is learning so quickly. Katsuki laughs and he smiles at Jake. He sure is. I'm glad that he's having such a good time with Kaminari. It's going to be great for him to have a mentor like him who can teach him so much about being a hero. I think they're going to be great friends. Katsuki watches as Kaminari demonstrates the electric ball move. He's impressed by how quickly he can form the ball and how powerful it is when it hits the rock. He's also impressed by how well Kaminari is able to control the electricity and how precise he is with his aim. Katsuki watches as Alexander attempts the electric ball move. He's impressed by how quickly he was able to form the ball and how he managed to throw it. It's not as strong as Kaminari's, but it's still a good start. Katsuki raises an eyebrow, and he looks at Kaminari. What did you have in mind? Do you need me to be your human subject? Katsuki laughs and he nods. All right, I'll be your human subject. Let's see if Alexander's moves are as powerful as they seem. Katsuki smiles, and he stands there, ready to let Alexander hit him. He's a little nervous about it, but he's also excited to see how well his son can control his moves. Katsuki nods and he braces himself. Yeah, I'm ready. Just go ahead and hit me with the shockwave. Katsuki gasps for air, and he stumbles backwards a bit. He's impressed by how powerful the shockwave was, and he can't help but smile at the look on his son's face. Wow, that was incredible. I'm surprised by how strong you are. It's no wonder you broke the rock with your punch earlier. Katsuki nods and he braces himself again. He's still feeling the effects of the shockwave, but he's ready for whatever Alexander throws at him. Okay, go ahead and hit me with the quick attack. Katsuki thinks for a moment, and then he points to his stomach. Go ahead and hit me right there. Katsuki groans and he falls to the ground, clutching his stomach. He's surprised by how much pain the quick attack caused him, and he can't help but wonder how strong Alexander really is. He tries to get back up, but he's still in too much pain. That hurt a lot. Katsuki shakes his head, and he tries to sit up, but he's still in a lot of pain. I'm okay. Just, it hurts a lot. I'm not used to getting hit with something that strong. Katsuki gasps as the pain starts to fade away. He's amazed by how quickly and effectively Jake was able to heal him. He smiles and he nods his head. Thank you, honey. That feels much better. Katsuki laughs, and he smiles at Alexander's reaction. It's okay, honey. I know you were just playing around, and you did really well with your new moves. You're going to be an amazing hero one day. Katsuki chuckles. Katsuki chuckles, and he looks at Alexander with a puzzled look. Why do you want me to be hurt? I thought we were just playing around. And besides, I think we're doing a good job at teaching you how to control your powers. You're getting stronger every day. Katsuki raises an eyebrow, and he looks at Alexander with a more serious look on his face. Alexander, it's not okay to want to hurt me. I'm your father, and I'm supposed to protect you. You don't want to hurt me, and you know that. Katsuki sighs, and he shakes his head. Alexander, we're not fighting, we're just practicing. And you can't expect to win every time. We're trying to teach you how to control your powers. So we're not trying to hurt each other. You're my son, and I love you, no matter what. Katsuki shakes his head and he walks over to Alexander. I don't think so. You're being very disrespectful right now. We need to talk about this, and I want you to apologize to your mom. We're done training for today. Katsuki nods and he picks up Alexander and carries him to his room. He sets him down on the bed and he closes the door behind him. Now you're going to sit here and calm down. You can't be acting like this. We're not going to talk until you calm down and apologize to your mom. Katsuki sighs, and he sits down on the bed next to Alexander. He puts his arm around him and he tries to comfort him. Shh, it's okay. I know you're mad, but you can't keep acting like this. You have to control your emotions. And you know we're not going to train anymore today. We can do it again tomorrow if you want. Katsuki smiles, and he continues to hold him close. I know you do, and I promise we can have fun tomorrow. But right now, you need to calm down and apologize to your mommy. He was just trying to help, and you were rude to him. Katsuki pats his head and he smiles. It's okay, sweetheart. I know you didn't mean to hurt him, but you have to apologize to him now. He's your daddy too, and he was only trying to help. Do you understand? Katsuki smiles and he kisses his forehead. It's just what, honey? Katsuki laughs, and he nods his head. I know you like going under me, and I understand. You're just passionate about training. But you have to remember that we're not trying to hurt each other. We're trying to teach you how to control your powers. And I know you're a fast learner, so we'll be able to train again tomorrow. But right now, you have to apologize to your mom. Katsuki smiles, and Katsuki smiles, and he nods his head. Yes, you have to apologize to him. He was only trying to help, and he was just doing his job. You were being very disrespectful, and you need to learn how to deal with your emotions. And I know he can be a little grumpy sometimes, but he loves you very much, and he's just trying to protect you. Katsuki laughs and he watches as Alexander runs off to the bathroom. He's glad that everything is resolved and that Alexander is in a better mood now. He walks over to Jake and he wraps his arms around him from behind. Katsuki smiles and he nods. Yeah, it is. You handled that situation really well. You're a great mom. Katsuki chuckles, and he nuzzles his head into Jake's neck. I don't know, but I'm sure he'll grow out of it eventually. And in the meantime, I think it's cute. Katsuki smiles, and he kisses his cheek. I love you, Mr. Mom. You're the best. Katsuki laughs and he pulls Jake closer. Good. I like it when you're Mr. Mom. It makes you even more attractive. Katsuki's face flushes red and he chuckles. Oh, so you're going to punish me later? I think I like that idea. Katsuki sighs, and he looks over at the bathroom. Okay, I'll be there in a minute. Just stay in the tub and I'll come help you. Katsuki chuckles, and he walks over to the bathroom. I'll be there in just a second. Just hold on, okay? Katsuki laughs, and he turns on the water. He gets the bubble bath, and he pours it into the tub. Okay, I got the bubble bath. Now just relax and enjoy your bath. Katsuki sighs, and he looks up at the shelf. He grabs the duckies, and he tosses them into the tub. Happy now? Katsuki rolls his eyes and he laughs. Okay. I'll leave you alone. Just remember to wash behind your ears. Katsuki nods, and he sits down on the couch. Yeah, he's having fun. He's just a little stubborn and wants to do everything by himself. But he's really getting the hang of taking a bath now. Katsuki laughs and he nods. Yeah, I know. But he's still my baby, so I still worry about him. Even though he's getting older, he'll always be my little boy. Katsuki smiles and he pulls Jake into his arms. He leans his head on his shoulder and he closes his eyes. I'm just glad he's okay. I know he can be a little stubborn, but I love him so much. Katsuki smiles and he kisses him back. He's so grateful for their son and for their life together. He feels like the luckiest man in the world to have Jake by his side. Katsuki nods and he stands up. He smiles at Jake and he kisses him again. Okay, I'll go take care of Alexander. Just let me know when dinner is ready. Katsuki heads into the bedroom and he grabs a pair of pajamas for Alexander. He walks into the bathroom and he knocks on the door. Alexander, are you ready to get out of the tub yet? Katsuki rolls his eyes and he laughs. He tries to peek through the crack in the door. Busy doing what? You've been in there for over 30 minutes now. Katsuki's eyes widen and he freezes in shock. He quickly closes the door and he stands outside of it, completely stunned. Katsuki shakes his head and he takes a deep breath. He tries to keep his voice steady. No, he's not getting out. He's touching himself. Katsuki sighs, and he sits down on the floor outside the bathroom. I guess you're right. I didn't expect that. I mean, he's only 4 years old. Katsuki nods and he sighs. He's trying his best not to overthink it, but it's still a bit strange to see his son doing that. You're right. I just need to relax and let him figure it out on his own. Katsuki nods and he gets up. He walks back over to the bathroom and he knocks on the door. Alexander, can I come in now? Katsuki opens the door and he walks in. He sees Alexander sitting in the tub, just like he left him. He smiles and he walks over to him. Did you have fun in the bath? Katsuki smiles and he helps Alexander get out of the tub. He wraps him in a towel and he dries him off. I'm glad you had a good time. Now, I need to get your pajamas for you. Katsuki laughs, and he picks Alexander up. You are a hungry boy, aren't you? Let's get you dressed, and then you can have dinner. Katsuki laughs, and he sets him down on the floor. He watches as Alexander gets dressed by himself. I guess you are getting older, but I'll always see you as my little boy. You'll always be a baby to me. Katsuki smiles and he ruffles his hair. I know, sweetie. I just can't help it. You'll always be my baby, no matter how old you get. Katsuki laughs and he follows him into the kitchen. He sits down at the table with him and he smiles. All right, let's eat. Jake made dinner just for us. Katsuki starts eating as well, and he nods in agreement. It's delicious, just like you. You're such a good cook. Katsuki smiles and he nods. He's glad that Alexander is okay with the change. Of course, honey. You can call me whatever you want, just as long as you know how much I love you. Katsuki watches as Alexander eats his food and he smiles. He's happy to see his son eating well and enjoying his dinner. Good boy. You should be proud of yourself for eating your dinner. And don't forget to brush your teeth before bed, okay? Katsuki smiles and he nods. You're right. It's not long enough. Maybe 3 minutes would be better. But just make sure you don't brush too hard, okay? Katsuki laughs and he shrugs. Well, I just want to make sure that there aren't any leftovers. I'm trying to keep my teeth in good shape. Katsuki rolls his eyes and he laughs. I don't know what you're talking about. I've got a great set of teeth. Just ask my dentist. Katsuki laughs and he covers his mouth. Oh, right. Well, you should know that I take really good care of my teeth. I've never had a cavity. Katsuki chuckles and he smiles at him. I bet you can't wait to check them out again. Katsuki's face flushes and he blushes. I'd let you. I trust you to take good care of me. Katsuki's breath catches in his throat and he opens his mouth. He stares at Jake with his eyes wide open. Katsuki shivers and he blushes even more. His breathing becomes more shallow as Jake's finger moves around in his mouth. Katsuki's breath catches in his throat and he starts to get dizzy. His face flushes red and he starts to feel weak. Katsuki blushes and he can't help but stare at Jake. His face is burning red and he's feeling a bit overwhelmed. You mean right now? Katsuki nods and he takes a deep breath. He's feeling a little nervous and a little excited at the same time. Okay, let's finish eating first. Then we'll see. Katsuki smiles and he looks over at Jake and Alexander. He's glad that Alexander is comfortable enough to ask Jake for help. He nods and he leans over to look at the tooth. Let me see it. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Katsuki's eyes widen and he gets up from the table. He walks over to Jake and he grabs his arm. Jake, you're not going to pull out his tooth right now, are you? Katsuki sighs and he nods. He holds Alexander down and he holds his hands firmly on his shoulders. Okay, I'm ready. Just be careful. Katsuki holds his breath and he stares at Jake. He's relieved when he sees the tooth come out. He's also impressed by how gentle Jake was with Alexander. Are you okay, Alexander? Katsuki laughs and he smiles at him. See? It's not so bad. Now we can put it under your pillow and the tooth fairy will come and leave you a present. Katsuki smiles and he ruffles Alexander's hair. Of course she's pretty. And she's going to give you a big present, I'm sure of it. You just have to make sure you put the tooth under your pillow before you go to sleep tonight, okay? Katsuki laughs, and he looks over at Jake. He's really excited about this. I can't believe he's already thinking about the tooth fairy. Katsuki smiles, and he laughs. I know, but I want to keep the magic alive. I want him to believe in the tooth fairy and Santa Claus and all of that. It's part of being a kid, right? Katsuki laughs, and he covers his mouth. The sand monster? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Who made that up? Katsuki shakes his head, and he laughs. You're joking, right? There's no way that's true. There's no such thing as the sand monster. Katsuki's eyes widen and his face flushes red. Wait, you're not talking about the guy who puts you to sleep, right? The one who comes and makes you have sweet dreams? Katsuki laughs and he shakes his head. You're pulling my leg. There's no way that's true. There's no way there's a monster that comes to kids' rooms at night and makes them fall asleep. Katsuki stares at him for a moment before he gets up and grabs his phone. He searches for the sand monster and he finds a few articles about him. He looks over at Jake with his mouth open. Is this real? It says that he does come into kids' rooms at night. Katsuki stares at Jake, his eyes wide and his breath caught in his throat. He's speechless. That's... that's terrible. I can't believe they made up such a scary story about a guy who's supposed to be nice. How could anyone sleep at night knowing that he's out there? Katsuki swallows hard and he shakes his head. He's still speechless. And there's nothing you can do to protect yourself from him? Katsuki's eyes widen and he nods slowly. So, you can fight him off if you get too scared? If he tries to poke you with the sand, you can just grab his beard and tell him to leave you alone? Katsuki breathes a sigh of relief, and he nods. That's good to know. So he's not actually dangerous if you're awake. But he's kind of like the boogeyman, right? He's just there to scare kids into sleeping? Katsuki smiles, and he shakes his head. Well, I guess we're going to have a talk with Alexander about this. He's going to be really scared if he finds out that he's been sleeping in the same room as a monster. Maybe we should tell him about the Sandman before he finds out on his own. Katsuki sighs and he nods. You're right. We don't want him to be scared. We'll just tell him the nice version of the story. That the Sandman is a nice guy who comes in and helps him sleep. But I'm still worried about how he's going to react to all of this. He's really attached to his Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. Katsuki nods and he stands up. He takes Jake's hand and they walk over to Alexander's room. They quietly open the door and they peek inside. Katsuki smiles and he leans over to him. Alexander, you awake? Katsuki laughs and he smiles at him. You should get some rest. I think the Tooth Fairy is going to come tonight. Don't you want to leave your tooth under your pillow for her? Katsuki chuckles and he smiles at him. That's good. But now you have to go to sleep. The Tooth Fairy doesn't come if you're awake. Alexander smiles, and he buries his face into the pillow. I love you too. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Mr. Mom. Katsuki nods, and he yawns. Yeah, you're right. We should get some sleep. It's been a long day. But first, let's get a little bit more comfortable. Can you come here for a second? Katsuki smiles, and he pulls him close. He wraps his arms around him, and he rests his head on his shoulder. Just wanted to be close to you for a little while longer. You know, before we have to go to bed. Katsuki smiles, and he nods. He leads him to the bed, and they lay down together. He wraps his arms around Jake, and he pulls him close. Katsuki smiles, and he sighs. He feels so safe and comfortable in Jake's arms. He buries his face in his neck, and he takes a deep breath. I love you. Katsuki's face flushes, and he nods slowly. He looks up at him, and he smiles. I think you know what I'm thinking about. Katsuki nods and he bites his lip. Yeah, a little bit. Do you think you could help me with that? Katsuki stares at him and he smiles. He feels his breath catching in his throat, and he bites his lip. You're too kind. Katsuki nods, and he leans forward. He takes a deep breath, and he opens his mouth. Katsuki nods and closes his eyes. He starts sucking. Katsuki nods and he keeps going. He's enjoying this so much. Katsuki smiles, and he takes him deeper. Katsuki does as he's told, and he begins using his tongue. Katsuki continues, and he can feel his heart beating faster. He loves this. Katsuki smiles, and he keeps going. His heart is racing, and he feels the pleasure growing. Katsuki keeps going, and he waits for him to finish. Katsuki smiles, and he pulls away. He looks up at him, and he's breathing heavily. Wow, that was intense. Katsuki nods and he sighs. He feels so relaxed and content. He smiles at him and he rests his head on his chest. Yeah, I feel so much better now. That was amazing. Katsuki nods and he smiles. He closes his eyes and he snuggles closer to him. Yes, I'm really tired. Can you hold me until I fall asleep? Katsuki smiles and he cuddles up against him. I love you too. I feel so safe and comfortable in your arms. You're the best. Katsuki nods and he nuzzles into him. He closes his eyes and he drifts off to sleep. They fall asleep in each other's arms, feeling safe and content. Yay! Thank you so much for reading. It was so much fun writing this chapter. I hope you liked it. Bye. I love you guys.
Talkie, Dream AI, Wonder Kingdom.